The bigger question for modern designers is not whether or not to use AI. It's how to use it without losing your own unique taste. Generic designs, which I'm sure you've seen a lot of, aren't caused by an AI by itself. They're caused by using AI without any direction, any systems, or without any taste embedded into the project. So over the next 25 minutes or so, you're gonna see how designers are using Kittl and AI to turn rough sketches into clean, editable vectors in minutes, build consistent icon and graphic systems, create full custom mockup sets directly on your canvas, use Kittl's remix tools paired with other AI features to get something more unique. And lastly, we're going to talk about bringing your designs to life with motion right in Kittl without having to use a fancy motion software. So let's dive in. All right, so the first thing we're going to take a look at is sketch to design, a concept I'm sure many people are familiar with, drawing something and then maybe having to use an advanced tool like Illustrator to go in and like image trace or use the pen tool or something like that. But with AI and a system called Kittl Flows that's built right into Kittl, you can take your concept, your sketch, or your text and see what it might look like with a ton of effects on it. And I've prepared a few things here for you to see what I mean. So this says sketch here, but actually this is just some text. You can see over here it says multiple fonts selected, so I could change it if I want. But what's connected to it and what you're going to see throughout the rest of the presentation is a system called Kittl Flows, where we attach a smartboard to our initial design, our initial artboard or image, and then using a prompt, we tell the AI what we want to see. So for me to do that, I would simply come to this little arrow here that's next to our artboard. I would click on it, and then I would click AI image, which is going to populate another board where I can move it all around the canvas wherever I want to. And then I can type in my prompt, select one of our many AI models here, can even change the aspect ratio if I want to, and I can type in my prompt and see what I want, which is exactly what we did with these. So if we just start with this middle one, we have the words stay kind here. So if I select this smart board and I open up our prompt box, which is going to be at the bottom, we can see here, create a playful text effect with letters that resemble vibrant pink, foamy, soap bars, yada yada. The great thing about Kittl is when you open up a project like this one I'm showing you or any of our other templates and you see smartboards connected, if you click them like I just did, you're going to be able to always see the prompt here. And that's a great way for you to take it, edit it, change it with your own design, with your own concept, and the prompt that you know already works to see something that you want. So you can see that it did a really great job. It used GPT-1 HD for this one. Let's grab another one. So I'll grab this one and it says create a whimsical design feature of a slice of perfectly toasted bread. Ketchup layer should be thick, glossy, slightly raised. And let's go up here and check out this other one and create a textured patchwork design. Each word section should have unique color scheme, yada yada. And this is a really great way to not only take a sketch, which we'll talk about in just a second, but already refine type. For example, these are fonts that we just selected and typed stay kind, but to see what it would look like in a variety of effects that would probably take you at least an hour or more to do in Photoshop. But if we go over here on the right, we can see an actual sketch that was drawn on just a piece of printer paper, and we have raw at hot sauce. And over on the right, we can see the smartboards. Again, if I were to click this and then we click this arrow, you can see AI image and the other options you have available to it. And if I click this smartboard, I'll be able to see what the prompt was. Turn this into a logo design for a hot sauce brand with crocodile spewing flames, use blocky outlines, and it did a really great job. Here's another option up here that's a little bit more simplistic, use blocky outlines. And so you can see how you can get multiple options from just adding multiple smartboards together, giving it the same prompt or little nuances to the prompt, and you can get different options. Now I mentioned that one of the things you're going to learn is taking a sketch and then creating a fully editable vector from it. And because this is currently an AI image, we will want to convert this and make sure we can edit it, change the colors, change the nodes, all the things like that. And you can actually do that with Kittl. So right now, as I mentioned, this is an image. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of the prompt box. But what we want to do with this smartboard is we want to click on this smartboard, and then over on the right side, you can see this button that says convert to image. So I'm going to click that, and that's just going to pop it right here next to my artboard. Now it's its own image. I could even export it if I want to in these format options, or I can convert it to an editable vector. Now the first thing I'm going to do is, because I don't necessarily need this background with it, is I'm just going to remove the background, which will take away that cream color and just leave me with the red color here. And then over on the right side, you can see vectorize, which I'm going to go ahead and click. And because it's only one color and I like it that way, I'm just going to click vectorize. Give it a few seconds to think about it, define all of the paths, and then boom, here we go. This is a fully scalable vector that I can make as big or as small as I want to. And then I can just grab my little color option, grab my eyedropper tool, and then grab that same red so that I can have it the same way. And of course I can go over here, change it to whatever I want. Let me go ahead and Command Z. And now that it is fully vector, I can double click in, which is the way that we enter our vector editing mode. And now you can see all of the nodes. Now this is obviously quite a bit of node editing to do, but I could select, for example, maybe all of this bottom one and start deleting different pieces that I don't want. So for example, maybe, I don't know, I don't want this area right here. I can delete that. And maybe I don't want this piece right here. So I select this area, get rid of that. I'm going to double click out. And so now I have like a little option for a tagline or something. Maybe I want to put a text box right here. Maybe I want to have it as a script font, and then I want to have it as that same red. And so now you can have a place to experiment, all from starting with a sketch, using Kittl and the AI models to craft a concept, and then converting it to a vector for you to then go in and make adaptations, change it. You can even continue iterating on it with our other AI tools, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. And if maybe sketching isn't exactly your strong suit and you just want to start generating some ideas from your mind, you want to start prompting them out, you can actually do that with one of our style presets. So if I click on style here in the prompt box area, you can see we have this style category called vector, and then you can even see we have some colored ones here. So if I wanted to select one of them and then type in what I want my icon or my logo or my graphic to be, I can do that, and even use a helper tool like our prompt builder tool to help me get the right style, the effects, the color, things like that to add to my prompt in order to generate a few concepts. And I actually have a full video on our YouTube channel explaining that, which you can check out if you want to. All right, let's talk about logo exploration with AI. And so you can see here, this is also just says logo sketch, although it is just a piece of text. You can see over here, it's just a typeface, but it's a good starting place for what we want to do, because what we're doing is we're using our concepting, our ideas, our reference board maybe to come up with the prompt that we're going to ask the AI to help us with. So we have our text, Mia, and then if I click on any one of these smart boards, we can open it up and check out what the prompt is. This one says a playful version of the logo with a bold italic retro style font. This one is a psychedelic logo blending styles of 70 funk. This one is a modernist logo using Mia. This one's probably going to be more of a handwritten casual script, and you can see that it gives you 4 really different unique colors, which, using the same method as I showed you before, we would convert it to an image, remove the background, and then we could vectorize it, which is going to leave you with these up here. So you can see right here, it's fully scalable. I can make it as big or as small. If I take it off, I can make it as fully big or as small. I can double click in, start editing all of the nodes. I showed you that before, but then continuing on using our smartboard feature, we can then start creating custom mockups, custom environments to see the logo in action. So if I click on this one right here, we see create a close-up shot of a storefront on green tile. The sign should be complimentary, use frosted glass. And this is a pretty short prompt all in all, and using something like Nano Banana will really get you some pretty cool effects. We can see this one right here. We took the icon that was in the logo and just included it by itself. And then in this smartboard, we started creating some packaging. So repeating pattern, crumpled pink chocolate wrapper, accurate foil texture. I mean, this is just a really cool way to start getting some concepts, especially if you're working on a branding project for a client, or maybe you're already in the final stages, or maybe you're just in the beginning stages and you want to show the client, hey, is maybe this something that you're going for? Or maybe if you're just only working on your own stuff, this is a great way to concept really, really quickly. Now, speaking of, with Kittl Flows, you can also go further and create full illustration sets, icon packs, or identity systems using the same styles, colors, wave, all of that stuff in one place. So you can see right here, there is a logo for Vortex, and then we can see a smartboard attached to it, which if I open it, we've applied a transparent 3D background, holographic kind of chromy thing to it, which is very, very cool. It's very, very retro. It's very kind of 90s-esque. We can see what was used to do it, Nano Banana Pro. But what I'm talking about here is actually going forward and creating a variety of illustrations or icons to go along with your brand. So you can see all of these boards that have been attached, and if I click on this one right here, it just says create a star illustration in that style, and it's as simple as that. I mean, it's actually really, really cool. Click on this one, it's gonna say classic smiley face. Click on this one, it's gonna say gummy bear in this same illustration style. And then what's happening is we're attaching smartboards together, and you can keep going with this. You can keep on attaching smartboards to your current iteration, your current smartboard, to make it go further down the line. So if I click on the one that's attached to it, you can say, make this more chrome. Sometimes it doesn't have to be so intense. You don't have to be an author, a novelist to write the right prompt for this. And then if I go to the next one, make this a minimal simplified outline version. So maybe let's try one of our own. I'm gonna go ahead, and another cool tool is to just click and drag, and I want it to be down here, and then I'm going to do AI image. So now it's down here, and let's say a sailboat. We want a sailboat illustration in the same style. I'm going to use Nano Banana. I'm just going to have it match the input, and we're going to give it a few seconds to get started. And there we go. There is our super, super cool sailboat illustration, which is, I mean, it looks very good. It looks very much in line with the rest of them. So just to show you how this would work, very similarly to how I showed you the logos would work, is I can always convert this to an image and then remove the background to use it as an illustration. Now, I probably wouldn't vectorize this one just because there's a lot going on and it is a very visually 3D effect. So I'm not going to try to superimpose a vector way to show this, but I want to show you a little hack that might be useful, especially if you're going to give Kittl a try. It's called the remix feature, which I mentioned earlier. And the way I like to do this is by selecting my image, and then in the prompt box, you can click on what's called remix image. And you can see I've already typed it in. Enhance this image to be 4K resolution. Now, sometimes you're going to need higher resolution imagery, and using an AI to create your icons, your assets, your illustrations is great when you're going to vectorize them. But sometimes if it populates an image that's a little bit lower scale, lower resolution, you need a way to make it higher resolution. And we can actually do that with Nano Banana Pro 4K. I have done this many times and it's really, really great. So if I know I'm going to be using this on a large scale, like maybe for a conference or a big banner graphic, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit generate to populate this card right here, give it a little bit of time, and then check back in with the 4K version. All right, and here is our 4K version. Now I'm going to remove the background, and at about this zoom level, maybe you can't really see that big of a difference between the left and the right object, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But as I zoom in here, you can start to see that there's a little bit more fuzziness on this one than there is on this one. The lines are a little bit more crisp around the sides, and as I start to scale this one up, it still retains a lot of its resolution. So this is a little bit of a side to the presentation, but it's a super cool hack that you can do easily in Kittl while you are creating your illustrations. Now, if it's something like this gummy bear and we want to convert it to an image, this one's pretty easy. I can just remove the background from this one, and then using the vectorizer tool with just one color, because it's an outline, I can just have my outline of my illustration turn into a vector because I'm not trying to do anything crazy with 3D. It's just an element I'm going to scale up or maybe use really small. All right, now let's move on to another really, really cool feature we have in Kittl, which is live mockups. And this is in addition to the AI features we have in Kittl, but mockups have always been a struggle point for many designers, especially when a lot of them can be overused. A lot of them can be maybe expensive or take very long periods of time to create in something in Photoshop or another tool. but in Kittl, we have a catalog of mockups that you can see edited in live time. And if you ever want to see them, it's over here on the left side. It says mockups. I was in this one really cool category called stone meal. But if I go back, you can see all of these different categories of mockups to choose from. And when they are attached to your design, so for example, the same way I showed you how to do a Kittl Flow, we would just click on mockup, which would then populate below or next to your most recent one. And then if I'm going to go back to that same category or any other category really, we can just go in here and maybe we'll click this one because I don't exactly know what can this might be on. We can add a mockup to our collection. Now, that's not the point of actually showing you this. If let's say I put all of these mockups kind of closer together so you can actually see what's going to happen here. Maybe we want to see what this would look like in a different color, and we can do that. And all of these will update and edit at the same time. So if I click on our design, which as you can see, there's lots of different components here that have all been used and designed in Kittl. So there's fonts here, there's illustrations, there's patterns, all this kind of stuff was made in Kittl. And you can also find tons of our templates over here in the template category if you need a starting place. But let's just start with something simple like changing the color from the dark blue to maybe a green. You can see the background changing in live time on the mockups, right? So you can see all of this changing in live time on the mockups here, and they all change to that purple. Maybe we want to change just the text, and we want to make the text a lot brighter. So we're going to bring this up and click out, and now you can see our text is much brighter. It's changed the background to purple. Maybe we want these purple boxes to be a little bit different. So let's grab the purple boxes and let's change those to be like maybe more pastel. Then click out. Now you can see they're all updating at the same time. And this is just a really, really easy, fast way to up your workflow. And just like all of the other ones I showed you, we can convert this to an image just like that. Now we can start using it wherever we want in the project, in a different project. We can export it, which of course you can also just export straight from this contextual taskbar up here if you want to. But it's such a nice way to see your designs in life. So let's do the same thing, something easy like change the background color here. Boom, there we go. We could change all of the text. Maybe we want to change the font. I don't exactly know what it will look like if I change it. Let's try this one. Boom, it changes. Oh, it's just so fast. Even me doing this many times in many videos, every time I do it, it's just so pleasing to watch the mockup change in live time. Really, really great for packaging like this, like mockups where we have packaging where you may want to see something very similar or very different. So maybe we want to grab this green color and we want it to be the same color as this orange color, and boom, now we can see like, okay, did we like the green better? Did we like the orange better? Duplicate it, do what you want with it. Oh, it's just so fun. And you don't actually have to stop here. Remember how I was talking about using AI to keep your unique taste or make sure you have some uniqueness or originality to it? And if you also remember how I told you smartboards can keep going on, let's just take this example. We can grab our mockup, which again is attached to our design in Kittl. The mockup is a Kittl mockup, but we need to make it a little bit more unique. Well, we can actually attach a smartboard to this mockup and then tell it what we want to change. So maybe I use our prompt builder to help us with this. So I'm not going to put in any style because it has style already in it. Perspective, I think I want maybe a bird's eye view. Effects, I'm not going to do because again, I don't really need any effects on it. Color, I'm going to leave alone as well. And in the environment, here is what I want to change. I want to see what this might look like in an interior setting and with the lighting. I'm going to go with a golden hour light. So we're going to add this to our prompt and let's say show the package sitting on a wooden coffee table in a living room. Simple as that. Hit generate, let it think for a few seconds, and there you have it. It has a interior shot. It's on a wooden coffee table. I didn't even give it any other instructions, but now you can see what this might look like in a different environment, keeping the package exactly the same. And I did use a model like Nana Banana Pro specifically for this because Nana Banana does a great job at keeping the same thing, the same item, the same person, the same position throughout all of your generations. And FlexPoint 2 Klein can also do that as well. But let's say you don't want to start with one of Kittl's mockups. You can actually just create a custom mockup flow, of which we have many in Kittl to get started with. And you just want to start creating the scene, creating the concept, again, maybe for a client, maybe for yourself, maybe for any kind of project. And here are a couple of examples. So let's take this coffee one. We have a coffee logo, and then we also have a full coffee pouch design. Let's take the logo, for example, first. And we have the first smartboard with a prompt asking it to apply it to the back of an orange t-shirt. And we have the example here. A young barista. We have things like long blonde hair, plain orange tea with a white apron, preparing an order, facing a coffee grinder. So if you have these shot ideas in your head and you haven't found a mock-up either in Kittl or elsewhere that really meets that need, you can really creative direct the creativity of how you want it to be. You can already craft what you might think the coffee shop looks like, or what the person looks like, or the action that they're doing. And then you can continue on with that scene to get really consistent branding. So if I click on this second one, then we see the designed orange paper coffee cup is shown beneath an espresso machine during the brewing process. The image is captured from a side angle, cafe setting remains warm. And now this may appear to be a little daunting to have some larger prompts like this, but remember what I said earlier, a lot of our Kittl templates have these prompts saved in the projects. So you can take them, you can tweak them, you can use our prompt building tool, which I just showed you. You can use our prompt enhancer, which will take your prompt and add some more keywords to it. And we also have videos with tons of tips on how to craft the perfect scene like this. Let's jump over to the coffee package one here, which is doing a very similar thing. So if I open this one, apply the design to a modern orange coffee pouch with a smooth matte surface. The coffee pouch is placed on a chrome aluminum espresso machine, yada yada. Then let's move to the next one where we're creating another scene. We have multiple pouches. We have some laying down, one standing up, keeping to the same background, the same style. And this is a great way to get consistent branding, or at least the concept for the consistent branding. Here's another example here of the flow where you can see the music poster that was all made in Kittl. We could change any of this if we wanted to. And then we have one of it mocked up in a hallway with cables, neon green sign. We have another one of it at a bus stop. We do have some extra little directions in brackets, which is another tip for using AI models. Then we have one outside on paper that's posted on the side of a wall, then on the window. And if you are more of a visual creative director type and you don't want to necessarily use mockups that everybody else has access to, then using Kittl's Flow feature with the many AI models that you have at your disposal, you can create a full concept like this in pretty much minutes. All right, the moment that you've probably been waiting for, and then I will let you get on with the rest of the presentations, is video. Video has come to Kittl, which is an extremely exciting time for many of us, especially those of us that struggle with creating motion or advanced tools like After Effects or anything where we need to animate something. So I want to show you exactly how this works, and there's two different methods to do it, but let me show you some use cases and examples. So here we have mockups moving. Okay, so that's one really, really big use case that's great for your products, agencies, brands that need to show their products on a mock-up moving around without spending tens of thousands of dollars to hire a crew, to get all of the rigging up, to make sure you have an inventory of products. You can get concepts first before you go into production. So here's an example of a daily glow spray, a face care product. This would be our starting frame and this would be our ending frame. And then this is our video generation, which if I click play, you can see spins around with a bunch of bubbles in the background, which is just a cute little simple subtle video animation. And as I mentioned before, we have the prompt in here. It is a bit long, but don't worry, we have lots of tips and tricks provided for you to help with the prompting. We can see there's a lot of motion, there's a lot of video language in here, lens flare, glints, atmosphere, all this kind of stuff. But basically the way to do this is to create, maybe you have your label, which is over here again, designed in Kittl, is a Kittl template, and we've mocked it up on a very cool cream bottle. And then what we did was generate it with an Banana Pro without the label on it. So we basically just said, create this exact bottle without the label on it. And then my preferred way to use video is to drag my mouse over both of my frames here, and then I can click on this generate video button, and then you can see here's the first frame and here's the second frame, to which I can then paste in my prompt, select the video model that I want to, select the orientation that I want to, select the amount of seconds, and whether or not I want music or sound involved in it, which you would need to prompt to get exactly what you're looking for. And once you do that, it is going to spit you out with your video. Here's another example of a starting frame with the Poppy Berry Pop here and the end frame, which if I click the video here, you can see it starts there and it ends there. And another really, really great one that I like a ton, which is this mirror sign that you might see on the outside of a shop or on the sidewalk or something like that. We have our first frame, we have our end frame, and then if I zoom in here and click, it's just a super subtle movement of people in the studio, and it's just a really neat way to easily add motion and action and emotion to your static mockups, because this alone, maybe with some text above or below, would be a cool story post. But this could be an even cooler one to be like, oh, there's people in the studio. I can't wait to go to yoga. Now, there's another way that you can create without having to select both your frames, go to generate video, and then making sure that it's the correct way, and then going your settings that way. I do think it's the easier way, but you don't have to do it that way. You can actually just generate a video straight from a smart board or a smart video board. So here's an example of a Sugar Rush poster, and now we have gone into more of the animation, text animation, 3D effects versus moving mockups. And you can see here what we did was add an AI video panel to it, which if you see right here, I click this arrow, it says AI video, and then we can even see what the prompt is. It's rather large. We have defined these as seconds. You don't have to do that. We do find that it works a bit better. We are preparing a ton of information on how to prompt the video models to get exactly what you want. But if I go right here and click this area, you can see that the person is moving around, all of the different pieces are moving around, which is really cool. And again, you can imagine this as like a story or a social post or a banner on your website. It's just a really cool, interesting way to give motion to it. I'll scroll down to this one right here and click on this one. You can see somebody like take the poster and stomp on it, which is really, really cool, unique, interesting thing. And then if you want something more subtle, maybe you just want a component of your video to be playing. And like that, for example, just the panther in the back to be moving. Maybe you just want something more subtle. You don't need everything to move, but one component. It just is an easy way to add motion. Now, if you notice when I click on this and open up the prompt box, it has starting frame, but the last frame is not there. So if we wanted to, we could grab our first frame and we could maybe duplicate it. Maybe we want the panther be going down. It doesn't really matter for this current effect. We're going to select AI video, keeping it the same, but then we're also going to grab this one and drag it to the video here. So now we have two, which you can see the start and the end frame, and then what is preferred. So then you can type in your prompt here. So maybe you would want the text to be gone. Maybe you would want the panther to be down or coming up. And then you could prompt in what you're trying to go for that way, just so that I don't leave you without knowing how to do it. You can set it up that way, basically dragging to. So if I move this one down, now you can see how the arrows are basically. And you could just drag these in, select this, open up your prompt box, and then now you can see the first and the end frame type everything in, go exactly the same way. And then you'll still end up probably with something like this because it's very simple. But maybe if you needed to have this transfer into another poster, you could do it that way. Or like I did with the start and end frames, you could do it that way. Okay, I know that was a lot, but we really only scratched the surface on all of the use cases and design styles that you can go in and create with Kittl using all of our different AI features, tools, vector editing, fonts, assets, all of that kind of stuff. So I definitely encourage you to get in and play with Kittl. It is a great time, especially with the video launch and all of the different models coming out and all of the other updates we're making to Kittl. It is such a great time to get in and try it out. And come and ask us any questions. We're always uploading videos and tutorials on the Kittl YouTube channel. That's a great way to get to me and our other creators, to ask us questions, submit features that you want to see in Kittl, and of course, continue getting better at design.